Guys, welcome. This is Brad Krantz. Thank you so much for joining me for my Monday morning leadership. Today, we are continuing in looking at Gary Vaynerchuk's latest book, 12 and a half. If you recall, we've talked so far about gratitude, self-awareness. Last week was accountability. Today, we're going to talk about optimism. So I'm going to hit some of the highlights that I picked out of that chapter, but let's define it first. So he defines optimism as hopefulness and confidence about the future, or the successful outcome of something, right? And he goes on to say that optimism is a word that he believes has become controversial in some ways, that there's a misconception out there that it means the same thing as a delusion, right? People that believe optimism is a setup for disappointment and loss. And he's basically saying that's not true. It's like having a vision. Having a vision is necessary to achieve your goals, but it doesn't guarantee it, and neither does being optimistic guarantee success. But without it, nothing's going to happen. So really the opposite of optimism is, we could talk about a delusion. A delusion is a false belief or judgment about external reality held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary occurring, especially in mental conditions, right? So optimism, again, is hopefulness and confidence about the future. It's not a delusion. It's not a false belief. So the opposite of optimism, he said, would be pessimism, which is a tendency to see the worst aspect of things or believe the worst will happen, a lack of hope or confidence in the future, right? So choosing optimism, he says, over pessimism as at the end of the day, wildly practical, right? That he's capable of navigating any challenge, right? So I hope you are too. But he's going to say gratitude can fuel optimism, right? Do you know how lucky you are? Guys, we live in the US, right? Look at all the opportunities we have, things that so many people around the world don't. I hope you don't take those for granted. But optimism is being thrilled about your next at bat while acknowledging that you're not guaranteed to hit a home run, right? That's kind of the point there. So if it's hard for you, ask yourself what your defense mechanism is when something doesn't go as planned. Do you default to blaming others and getting upset? Do you lack accountability, right? We talked about that. Do you use your ego as a shield? Do you crawl into your shell because you're dwelling on the past or beating yourself up? Is your self-esteem entirely influenced by what other people think of you, right? Or do you take accountability, right? Again, bottom line is leaders, we have to be accountable. You can't blame others. What are you accountable for? I think we're accountable for far more things that we want to believe. And I've said this, I'll say it again, but that leaders have far more responsibilities than rights. And I think that's what he's really getting at here. But rewiring your emotions takes time. Okay, start by surrounding yourself with optimistic people. Okay, and then limit interactions with people that drag you down mentally. It's called setting boundaries. I distance myself from those people. I delete them or I unfollow them on Facebook or LinkedIn, whatever it might be. Fill your ears with positivity through podcasts or videos, right, guys? We have unlimited access through YouTube, among others, 24/7, 365. Okay, so he thinks optimism is really a map. It helps him see his destination. It's one of the many reasons that he values the journey over the outcome. But bottom line here, it makes playing the game more enjoyable than winning it if you're being optimistic, but he's not comfortable with is not trying, right? It's one thing to be optimistic or have vision and not hit your goal, but if you just don't try, that's not acceptable. Okay, so that's why he believes optimism is the perfect teammate to tenacity. How can you be tenacious if you don't think you can achieve what you're setting out to achieve? And how can you put in the necessary work? More important, how can you sustain success once you achieve it? So if you have confidence in a positive outcome and you pair your optimism with tenacity, he believes that success has a better chance to come true and be sustainable. And I will close again by just repeating this, that optimism is being thrilled about your next at bat while acknowledging that you're not guaranteed to hit a home run. Guys, I hope this helped. I'd love to hear your thoughts on optimism. How are you trying to build up your optimism? How do you see this as important for leaders, as a soft skill? Please bounce me back. I'd love to get some input on this engagement. As always, guys, thanks so much for joining me today on my Monday morning leadership, and have an awesome Monday. Bye-bye.